As hungry as we used to be, we getting our basic free meals. This is where we started thinking of quality produce, genetically engineered, organic or natural, fresh or frozen, canned or handmade. All of that questions are now coming up actually.
And that's part of educating
Absolutely.
people in the food industry and toward the food scene.
And the cold chain is one very important thing you mentioned. Whether it is a fresh fruit, vegetables, whether it's a dairy industry or the fish and meat industry. If you don't have good cold chain, then you can't. For a country which is primarily poor or has problems with the roads, now the roads have started getting better in India. So until you don't have that, there is no question of cold chain. You might have cold refrigerated vans, but you have no roads. So. Or it is stuck in somewhere where because of a traffic gridlock for 3 days and the refrigerator has failed. So those were the problems we were facing, and we still are the problems we are facing, but we're getting better.
How you become the best chef in India?
Look, it is a very, it is an arbitration or arbitrary kind of a thing, but okay, because this is the National Tourism Award given by the President of India, so it brings in a lot of value. Or kind of really makes you feel you're the best. India is a very, very large country. It's very difficult to say you're best in anything, right? India in the middle of 1.2 million people. I can say I'm very lucky and makes me feel very proud to get an award from the president of the country. So I would say it's super luck. I don't think it's anything else. When you start cooking in a corner of a kitchen, you could never imagine doing anything for that matter, right? You're cooking and that's your passion. From there to walking out up into the Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is, I don't know if you've seen this, it's really massive Parliament House and Rashtrapati Bhavan, which was built during the British era, which is like one of the largest monuments of Delhi. So walking down the big hall, thousands of people clapping and the national anthem going up and all to collect an award is a very, very,
We'll see that tomorrow.
very strange feeling. Okay. So you could never imagine that. You couldn't even dream of something like this. I for sure didn't. But I think it's good, as in, it would probably be, I never inspired for something like this because I didn't know that something like this existed or is possible. In France, I'm sure they give you the Legion of Honor as the best cook to Joel Robuchon and all of that. But here it doesn't happen. So suddenly when it happened to me, it was more of a surprise than joy. But of course, yes, it's a great sense of achievement, a great pride to be the best in anything in a nation which is that varied, that big. So much talent in everything, but I feel it is primarily not for me. It's the generation after me would probably see the benefit of it because it would probably inspire them. Now that you know that you can get there, right? So the younger generation, the young chefs or the young students coming out of the culinary school, I think it is more for them. I feel that this award means a lot of value or means or brings in because as a cook, as a chef, you just didn't think that you could also climb and to go to this level.
Absolutely.
So today people can actually inspire and
I hope will be inspiring.
Absolutely. I think that's probably the most or the largest importance of this award in my mind.
Have you ever thought about creating, setting a cooking school or something you could transmit? Cooking for clients and probably giving interviews or all that kind of stuff is promoting Indian food and mix Indian techniques or bringing back to India foreign techniques.
Right.
Have you ever thought about transmitting this experience through a school or doing something like this?
Look, culinary school is something that I've always been dreaming about. I have been running a chef's training program within the restaurants. So I have tied up with a small culinary school at Oscars, which is just next door locality. It's called ICF. So I use the facility to train our students and all of that. I have been in talks with Alma School, which is in Italy. I've been in talks with Local Duplo. I've been in talks with CIA, one of the largest culinary schools from the US. And I definitely for sure want to do that. I for sure don't want to open a restaurant because I know opening a restaurant will be killing the rest 5 years of my life or the next 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
So for sure, if I have those 10 years, I would want to do something with education and primarily would be to open school that would then create many chefs like myself, inspire younger people, give an opportunity of learning things that you or else don't get, or else you have to constantly travel all over the world to do and see all this. So yes, there is definitely, it is on the cards. I have been talking, seeing places, we've even looked at areas for campus and spoken about the cost, because it's a lot of investment to build a good school. And school, if it doesn't have good facility, then there's no point. Then it is just a place for passion, but no facility. So.
It's not enough. Plus, you could make sure that some foreign chef come to your school to give masterclass or to speak.
Look, this is the room that we're sitting here. This particular room, I don't know if you notice, there's a little kitchen at the corner, which is like a domestic kitchen. This I always use for chefs who are traveling. So I've had Italian chefs here, I've had French chefs here, I've had two Irish chefs last season, then I had an American chef, now I have another French chef coming this January. So this room is always used as a chef's expression room. So anytime somebody wants to come in and do a week or a pop-up kitchen or a month or a few months with us, I offer this place. So similarly, when we do a culinary program, I'm sure, because I strongly believe that I might be a very good cook and know how to cook Japanese food or French food or Spanish food because of my travel and exposure, but until you're born in that culture and it runs in your blood, in your DNA, you can't really exactly be reproducing or duplicating the fine nuances of the cuisine. I would still miss some of the fine points. In spite of spending 18 years in cooking, I would still probably miss some of the fine points which maybe a housewife in Japan or in Spain or in France would know, because you've grown up with that culture or it's in your blood. So I strongly have great respect, that's why, for the masters of all the cuisines, whether it is Latin American or it is Spanish or it is French or it is Japanese. I have great respect. And cooking is something, such a natural thing. It does not have to be a professional trained chef. You can learn cooking from the grandmother to the mother to the housewife to a small roadside tea stall. It can be anybody.
It begins with love.
Absolutely. It's a passion that kind of carries it. And yes, of course, once you learn it, and then you need to make it you may need to institutionalize it, to put it in a format like that so that people can be trained, it can be reproduced, and it can be passed on.
Favorite product you like to cook with? What do you prefer cooking as a product? I don't know.
I primarily because I cook Mediterranean food. In Japanese, I would say it has always been it is always going to be the fish or seafood, whichever the best quality that I can lay my hands on. In Mediterranean, I have a great love for white truffles. So I use a lot of truffle oil, truffle essence, white truffle. I'm not so fond of the black, but if I get it, I'll use that as well. And fresh herbs for sure, like lots of fresh herbs. So it's rosmarino, salve, lavender, whatever. And because the spices in my gene, right? I'm born in India, so it's in the blood. You can't miss it. So I love using spice, not chili, but spice. Like let's say like star anise or canela, cinnamon, or green cardamom. Milder spices, things that can marry easily into, let's say, an international food. I can't really say European food, but let's say international. Because today the world is waking up to spices. They're seeing the value of the spices, the health implications, the benefits of using spices. So I like to work with a little bit of spice, touch of, let's say if I do a confiture of fruit, I will probably throw in a star anise in it. Yeah, so it's so that little the other day we make crème anglaise and we put green cardamom. So it's a beautiful mild flavor, but it marries into so you just substitute the vanilla with the green cardamom, and people
I like that. That's what I like in food. I mean, it's really northern Indian food towards the southern part of Indian food. What are the major differences for our clients and our guests to understand? How would you summarize this kind of thing to someone who doesn't know about the differences between northern part and southern part of Indian dishes?
India is so diverse by geographical, conditions. So in the hills we eat differently, in the river side we eat differently, in the seaside we eat differently. So that it's actually the geographical boundaries that makes this difference. Up hills in Himalayas there's no fish, but a lot of good meat, lamb, chicken, good dairy, so very good milk products. As you go downer, you're in the peninsula where you're covered by the sea on all three sides. So suddenly the quality of seafood improves, fish improves, coconut happening everywhere abundantly, rice paddy happening. Up in the hills it's more wheat and vegetables. Down it's rice paddy, and up you have a lot of pulses also.
Okay.
Up north.
Okay.
So the northern Indian cuisines would primarily be. You must also understand that in India every state has a different cuisine. So it is very difficult to classify it as north or south. Every state speaks a different language. Every state has a different cuisine. So we have 160 official dialects. If you look at the currency note. Here?
Yeah. That's a different dialects. Okay.
We have 160 of them registered.
Okay.
And there are many hundreds that we don't even know. 28 states would have 28. There was a recent interesting World Bank study which said every 30 kilometers
Yeah.
the cuisine changes in India. So India is 2,200 kilometers this way, 2,600 kilometers that way. So if every 30 kilometers the cuisine changes, you can imagine how diverse it can get. Every home has its own spice mix. Every grandmother makes their own dough of chapati, dough of naan. The dal is different. There are registered few hundred recipes of dal, few hundred, like the yellow dal or the kali dal. We just know 2, 3, but there will be few hundred of them. The Nawabs and the Maharajas were the wealthy people and still are. So in their homes, the cuisines evolved a lot. So the guy would probably 365 days he would eat a different curry, a different dal, or a different meat preparation. So the cuisines of the Maharajas or the Nawabs in India is so evolved that it is difficult to kind of put them under one classification of whether it is north, south. Also what has happened is they have highly been influenced by the Western influences. So there's Portuguese influence, French influence, English influence. So English was least in food actually. Sorry. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, so it is the French, Portuguese, Spanish. So the cuisine is very, very, very diverse. But it has been very highly influenced by the the regions where you are. So as you go down east, which is again the Ganges Valley, it's highly fertile, so fantastic paddy, different kinds of flavorful rice, basmati, local fish, sweet water fish. Like Kerala and all is salt water. This is all sweet water, like river water, like trout and trout and rohu and katla. So all river water fish has a very different aroma, different taste, different. Then India was also, as in, which is today Bangladesh is a part of India, right? So Bangladesh and a part of Pakistan, which is all part of India basically, also has very interesting cuisines. This is what we call the northwestern frontier. So the Pakistan part of it has fantastic meats, like the best basmati, the best meats, the best kebabs, which is now gone into Pakistan, Lahore, Karachi and all of that. Bangladesh, this side, has mustard, the best mustard oil, best rice paddy again because it's the Ganges Valley. Fantastic sea fish because they are right in the ocean because it's delta. The mangroves, so different kinds of fruits and vegetables, highly tropical. So they actually, we say that Asia starts from the east of Asia starts from West Bengal. So the features you will see everybody has a Mongolian kind of a look and feel. From that side to Japan, everybody starts looking now Mongolian. This is like the common meeting point. So they would have Chinese influences in the food, they would have their own influences, they would have spice, chili, and because it's a delta and it is so fertile because of the silt and all of that, the riverbed that you are at. So you grow this most amazing chili, you grow this most amazing watermelon, hundreds of varieties of melons grows there, fruits and vegetables, rice paddy, wheat, corn, anything that you grow there grows very well. So all of this also influences the cuisine a lot. Then when you go up northeast, that again in hills, the latitude, longitude is almost at the same line of where Japan is today. So they will grow the same mushrooms, truffles, truffles, but it will never give you the same flavor because the climatic conditions and the soil is different. But let's say we have this very iconic, not iconic, it's a legendary berry which has a lot of mystic stories. It grows in China, it grows in Japan. In Japan we call it yamamomo. It's a red colored berry. Okay, I'll give you the English name. It grows in the northeast of India, but nobody really knows until you travel through it. You'll never know. Passion fruit grows abundantly in northeast. People don't even know it is called passion fruit, but it grows. Okay. Then it has things like betel leaf, betel nut, lots of strange other hill fruits that grows abundantly in the jungle. Lots of strange herbs and spices that we don't know much. The spiciest chili in the world is from the northeast. It's called, we call Bhut Cholakia, or it's called Naga Cholakia.
Green or red?
It is reddish or red. It is at least 20 times spicier than a habanero.
Wow.
Habaneros are considered to be the spiciest chilies. If you eat it, it makes you hallucinate.
Ah.
The capsaicin is so high, it makes you hallucinate. The head starts spinning and then you start hallucinating. And most of the time, people who are not used to handling capsaicin would have to be hospitalized because it chokes their windpipe. Yeah. So it's crazy. So it has strangest of produce that even India we don't know. Forget the rest of the world. But it still has their smoked pork. It has your smoked fish. It does a lot of meat preparation because of the the European influences or the missionaries who have come that side. Down south we have a lot of what we like idli, different kinds of pancakes. They're not so much into bread. There's almost no wheat. Down south, as you go down India, there's no wheat. Okay. So up north is naan, chapati, tandoori roti. Now you can scream and die, but there's no roti. Nobody will like, what the hell is a roti? So it's that diverse. A lot of the cuisines post mid part of India starts becoming vegetarian because India has the largest population of vegetarian people in the world because of religious reasons, because of geographical conditions, because of the way they are brought up.
Yeah.
Let's say 1.2 million people, there will be 60 million vegetarians in this country. That constitutes a larger part of vegetarian than you have in the rest of the world. So India and down south has the largest vegetarian cuisine of the world. South India has a cuisine, let's say South India, when we say south, it is Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, the 4 large states. Okay? These 4 states together would give you 30 breakfast items. No cuisine in the world has it. No cuisine. We've done research to see, but no cuisine in the world can give you 30 breakfast items. They will give you a pancake. In France, you will eat a lot of croissant.
Yeah.
And crepes and
diverse.
30 different things that you can eat at breakfast and all vegetarian. And similarly at lunch and dinner, they will give you another 30 options of food that will all be vegetarian. And when they say vegetarian, which means it has no fish, it has no stock, it has no fumes, nothing, just pure vegetarian. So it's very diverse and complex. I guess the best food experience is to come back and
Definitely.
come back and travel.
On that note, I think we're gonna finish this very interesting and educative interview. We learned so much. Thanks so
You're
much
most
for
welcome.
giving us your time, being
No,
available for us and make us understand pretty well, I think, how Indian food scene works now. We definitely gonna be back.
So drop me an
in the
email or
coming
something, let's stay in touch, and when you're back in India, I would love to welcome you
Yeah.
back at our restaurants. And whenever
That
I
would
do
be
go when I'm that side, I'll let you know when I'm coming.
A great pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.